All right, testing audio. Can everybody hear? Alrighty. All right, we're at 85 people right now. We got a minute left. If this blows up to 100 plus, then I need to go and upgrade my Zoom membership real quick. I think we'll be okay though. Let's see. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go upgrade the membership. It's at 98 now. Hold on just a second. Zoom, let's take a look. Let's see where Zoom's about to go. Yeah, no, Zoom doesn't look that great right now. Yeah, I just upgraded the license so it can accommodate more people. I asked for people to react to the announcement earlier to see if I can get a head count on how many people were going to join. And I think it was only like 60 something, but apparently there's 160 plus. So yeah, I'm going to give everybody like 5 more minutes to join since we had some technical difficulties, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, if anybody has questions that you want me to cover, like post them in advance in the Heatseeker support channel in Alice Capital, and then that way I remember not to forget it at the end of the day. Hey, what? Why do you need to mute people? You don't have to mute everybody because people can't even unmute themselves. Or are you trying to block somebody? Yeah, Michelle Higgins, you're the only one with your name as your real name. You're gonna get doxxed. It's so funny. I think a lot of people join with their work Zoom accounts, so sometimes I end up seeing everybody's real name. Yeah, just be careful because your IT team is gonna be able to see what meetings you're joining, and they're gonna see that you joined a meeting called Owls. Yeah, I don't know why your government name is hard to say correctly. That's a pretty easy name to pronounce. Oh, your mom owns the company? All right, that's fine then. Yeah, Owls is a cult. Yeah, I'll go ahead and explain. Yeah, I'll explain all of it. I'm pretty excited to go into the reasoning behind why we built what we built and how you guys are using it. I think a lot of people, like I enabled it towards the second half of the day, and I think a lot of people used it and they were actually able to make money off of it. So that was pretty cool. But once you actually learn how you're supposed to use it, it's gonna change entirely. Like it's gonna change the game. Yeah, Travis, I've been working on this tool for like the past 14 to 16 months. Um, Ultimately, the reason I was working on it is because like I love to track dealer positioning and I used like every single tool that was out in the market and nothing really worked. Like nothing worked. So I did a lot of research and I studied some, PhD papers with regards to like how we can accurately track dealer positioning. And the answer I found out was that there's actually no proper way and no like explicit way to track it. So everybody is creating their own inference layers to kind of assume like all the orders coming in, like, which are dealers, which are institutions, which are, usual retail customers like ourselves. And quite honestly, I think they all get it wrong. Like even the way I do it, like I don't know if it's 100% correct, probably not, but I've tested my tool side by side with like every other tool out there. And I mean, honestly, like I'm super confident in it. Like I think I really got the inference layer down to a pretty good level where it's been pretty accurate so far. Like people ask me like, how confident are you in the data? And I'd say like 80 to 85% confidence, which is pretty good because other people are flipping a coin and doing 50-50 guesses. Yeah, I'm not showing anything right now, Genny, but I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off in 1 minute because I had to expand the group and some people are joining late. Like I still see people joining late. GGG, what's up, man? Your video camera is on and I saw your nipples. A giveaway for lifetime membership at the end. All right, that's actually a good idea. I should have thought of some giveaway like that, but I was gonna wait for Keon to go ahead and, think of some good ideas, but he said he's still at the dentist doing I don't know what. Yeah, my background, I've always been an entrepreneur for like the past decade. I went to school for computer science, but I ended up graduating with a business degree with a concentration in management and information systems. Um, so yeah, I've been an entrepreneur 12 years. I've been a trader for around 10 years. Like I started off trading stocks and then I went into penny stocks, then I went into options. Professionally and in terms of my career, I've worked at ServiceNow a long time ago, starting in 2014. I worked there for around 5 to 6 years, saw it grow into a $1 billion company, and then after that, like I just kept on working on my own startups and then working with other startups. And Skylit is pretty much like my my big one. It's the big one where, my skills and expertise and like everything I learned professionally it converges with what I really, really enjoy doing, which is trading, making money, and helping other people make money in the markets. Like, I think, especially with the whole generative AI boom, a lot of people are kind of in a rough position where they need to have a side hustle. And there's really not that many side hustles out there that you can begin without having to put years into the game first. Like, I think trading is one of those things where if you really care enough to do so, you can get really, really proficient at it and good at it within months, not years. So, a lot of friends I talk to, like they're always worried about what's going to happen to their job, and everybody knows that companies are laying people off left and right because of AI. And like the reason I'm building what I'm building, and the reason I teach how to trade, and the reason I do a lot of educational sessions is ultimately because it's a good outlet for people. It's a good outlet for people to build. Not only secondary income, but you can even use it as a primary income source if you get really good at it. Yeah, dentist for 4 hours. Yeah, his homie's gonna pop up with freaking gold grills or platinum grills or something. Yeah, I went through the complete holy grail of trading, man. I've been doing it for a long time, and quite honestly, like in my first 3 to 4 years, like I blew up my entire life savings, and I also, wait, what the fuck? Okay, hold on. Zoom gave me a pop-up saying it sounds like I'm speaking in Spanish. No, I'm speaking in English. What the fuck? All right. Anyways, yeah, I blew up. I blew up my port a couple times and lost a lot of money. Yeah, the session's being recorded. Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Shravan Patel, who will lose money if everyone becomes a smart trader? So, trading is a zero-sum game, meaning like if one person wins, another person loses. But the way I actually dumb it down is that it's actually not even a zero-sum game. It's a negative-sum game, meaning that both people on both sides of the table could be losing. And that's ultimately because of transaction fees, commissions, and also, the different fees that people pay when they actually take a trade. So it's the worst of the worst, like deals, I'd say. It's like it's not even 50-50. It's like you're always against the odds. So. Yeah, I guess what we're gonna say, if everyone becomes smart traders, like who will lose the money? I think the answer is that not everybody's gonna become a smart trader. Like only people that are using, Heatseeker or Skylit and the people in Owl's Capital or, in Asgard are gonna become smart traders, and we're just gonna be taking money from everybody else. Yeah, out of penny stocks, options and stocks, which has been my favorite and or most successful? I think options has been my most favorite and also my most successful. Ultimately, because you don't really have to wait that long to make a lot of money. Like I like to find out if I'm right or wrong within seconds or minutes. Like I don't like to wait, months or weeks. Like I'm pretty impatient. So, yeah, that's why I like trading options. I also think the tooling that is going to be available for options traders are just far superior than stocks and penny stocks. Like I think for stocks and penny stocks generally, like it boils down to like a lot of fundamental research or like short squeezes and stuff like that. But options is a pretty technical and mechanical game, and that's why I like to trade it. Like I feel like I really do have a good edge in options trading. Keon's at the dentist getting his grills put in. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Like if everybody can I'm gonna go ahead and hold on the questions. Like I'm gonna put a bookmark on one of these posts just so I know I can go back to the questions. And then let me see. I'm just gonna go ahead and start by doing like a quick intro and kind of doing like a psychological and mental reset for everybody. Everybody heard of my intro now? Like you all know how long I've traded, you know my background, you know why, I'm kind of credible enough to be able to share this information. I met up with Keon Trades in New York City last week, and we just had a conversation about, how we can kind of partner and add value to what both of us are doing. And I ended up in Owls where I'm teaching everybody how to use the tool that I built and also providing it occasionally to kind of leverage and, make money with. So hopping right into it, I'm just going to go ahead and share a quick PDF that I created for everybody to just outline a quick intro. All right. So currently the project I'm working on is the development of an agentic trading terminal. So the word agentic effectively means that, it's a tool that over time will have AI agents managing a lot of the data and providing a lot of the insights so that you manually don't have to scan and sift through a bunch of stuff and like, copy and paste, like flow to your Discord, post updates on it, keep asking like, hey, is this whale in or out? Every sector, every industry is getting impacted very heavily by AI, especially AI agents. And I truly believe that we have a, opportunity to make trading, analysis, and research agentic as well. So that's where the whole origin story of Skylit starts from. The problem that we're tackling and like the reason I developed this is because most retail traders are taught to react to price, not predict it. It leads to a situation where they're often left chasing the bag or they're holding the bag. Like I think a lot of people, they might have chased open yesterday and then it dumped straight from the highs. So, you were used as exit liquidity, right? That's because you were reacting to a pump rather than being able to predict it and being able to enter on Friday instead of Monday after we gapped up. Okay. This leads to traders getting trapped in false breakouts. They get chopped up, or they get stuck in a range or a whipsaw, ultimately leading to a blunt portfolio. But what if there's a way where you're able to understand where the market is likely to move? Would you still be reacting to price? Would you still be chasing breakouts? Would you still be going after an entry after you see like a 10% gap up on a ticker? Like I'd be curious what the answer is, and I would assume the answer is no, but let's see. What is this? The Zoom keeps on giving me a bunch of pops up. Hold on just a second. All right. Yeah. So yeah, if you knew where the market is likely to move on all of these tickers, would you still be reactive or would you be more proactive and try to enter with institutional traders to get the best risk to reward entries? My answer was always yes throughout the journey of, options trading. So, I've always been tracking how institutions move. And ultimately, I've always been tracking how dealers move in position because that's who really controls the market and who kind of sets the tone for the entire trading day. Ever since options came out with 0-day expirations, like market dealers effectively have the market by the balls. Like the reason we see so much chop, the reason we see so much whipsaw, and also the reason why the market keeps on grinding up, is ultimately because like the market dealers just have a very, very controlled like grip hold on the movement of the market based upon their hedging obligations for the options that they are dealing out to the market. So if we're able to track the traces of market dealers, if we understand how they're, positioned and what their hedging obligations look like, then ideally you're able to kind of predict and forecast and understand, how price is likely to move. So Heatseeker is the first module that we're building as part of this agentic trading terminal. It's a dealer positioning tracking tool that has its own proprietary inference layer to predict dealer positioning at any moment in time across around 300 tickers. I started it off initially with just SPX, SPY, QQQ, and IWM. And then slowly I started to, try to build a data model where I can apply it to individual single tickers as well, like Tesla, Nvidia, Apple and Amazon. And I've gotten really good feedback. I've gotten really good results. So ultimately I started pushing it out to, or we've got like 287 tickers supported today, I think. So if you want to use this, if you want to experiment with it, like the mindset shift that you really need, and I would even say like even if you didn't use it, like the mindset shift that you really need is that you need to learn the art of buying low and selling high. Like it sounds very simple, but I don't see people doing this very often. Like oftentimes I think people just FOMO trade. They look at like the next hottest tick. Like I bet you even MBIS tomorrow is gonna gap up like 40 or 60%. And some people are still gonna want to chase that just because they feel the FOMO of seeing all of these 20 to 30,000% gains on X, right? Like I think ultimately that's kind of how people are trading. Like they're trading based off of vibes, but they're trading based off of FOMO ultimately. Like they see these massive gainers and they're like, fuck, like I didn't take it, but like, in case it pumps more, like I want to be in the move. Um, so yeah, like the mindset shift that everybody needs to have if you want to be successful, like if you're gonna continue to chase, if you're gonna continue to like FOMO trade, if you're gonna continue to like fly blind, like you might as well not even use Heatseeker. Like it's just not gonna help you and it's not gonna work. Like this tool is effectively there to assist you and guide you in being able to identify and enter the best asymmetric risk to reward trades, which means your downside is limited and your upside is going to be very, very high. Okay. So before I go on into how a heat map looks and how you can effectively utilize it, I'll go ahead and take a pause here and you guys can let me know if you have any questions so far. Olufemi George, hopefully that gives you a good enough explanation of what Skylit's all about. Yeah, Shravan Patel, which options type is my favorite? Zero day expiration is my favorite. Like my entire strategy revolves around zero day expirations. And also out of my entire year-to-date trading profits, around 90% of them are from SPX alone. So SPX is great. The reason I like it is because it moves fast. And also you get very, very good tax treatment. It's like a 60/40 tax treatment where 60% of your net profits are taxed as long-term gains and 40% is taxed as short-term gains. So this doesn't matter if like you're unprofitable, but if you're a profitable trader, like SPX and futures are really, really good for tax treatment. Glitch alerts coming soon. Probably not because you don't need it because Heatseeker is like a codification of my entire strategy. Like these days, like a lot of times I don't even look at a chart. Like I literally just trade off of the heat maps. Yeah, do I trade spreads or condors or just the naked calls and puts? I trade a little bit of everything. I don't like to trade condors, but I like to do vertical call spreads, vertical puts, butterflies, and covered calls, cash secured puts, and stuff like that. No, I'm not credible for financial advice. Don't listen to me for financial advice. Yeah, Mav, time of the day to use it. So please go into the Heat Seeker questions channel, look at the pinned messages. Actually, let me just go ahead and share it right now. 1 second. 1 second. I'm just gonna go ahead and open up what I have. Alpha Trader, in terms of my year-to-date returns, I'm up around 340, I think 342 or 41%. Yeah, I've tested it on NDX too, but QQQ is what you should be using if you want to trade NDX. Like NDX options and like volume in general is too illiquid, and it just doesn't give you a good enough data set to work with to truly identify dealer flow. Like liquidity is a pretty big aspect of it. Guinea, like my competitors, like honestly. I honestly don't know. Like, I mean, I guess you can consider them competitors, but like Unusual Whales has a tool called Periscope that said that we're going to 6470 on SPX today, when Heatseeker said 6485 was going to be the bounce level. So, yes, they're a competitor. Am I worried? Absolutely not, because the data is largely inaccurate. You've also got like tools like GackSpot. You've got tools like, Trade Ticks, Options Depth, Spot Gamma. Spot Gamma has been around for a while and I've used it. Didn't really like it, didn't think it's super accurate. A lot of these tools just use plain vanilla OI to determine dealer positioning, and the reason that doesn't work is because open interest doesn't tell you if it's like sure it'll tell you if a position of interest is opening or closing, but it doesn't tell you if that position is a short position or a long position. So if that's the case, like you've got a 50-50 crapshoot that you're dealing with. Therefore, I don't like to use open interest as any kind of indicator or any kind of formula. Like any tool that uses open interest, like I just write it off and I ignore it, because you're gonna end up in scenarios where the largest call walls and put walls are probably at like round numbers, like 6,400, which is literally 100 points away from where we were at market open. So it's pretty useless at that point. Yeah, I've heard of trade ideas as well, and I've used it a long time ago. I used to use it as a relative volume scanner, and I just stopped using it. Yeah, XSP is not liquid enough either. So yes, you could trade it, but I generally stick to SPY and SPX. But XSP, yes, you do get the favorable tax treatments. Yeah, futures like ES, you do get favorable tax treatments. You could just use the SPX maps to trade ES and just use a SPX to ES futures conversion tool. Yeah, the recording will be announced tomorrow. Expiration date options for QQQ, 0 day expirations. How many SPX trades do I take daily on average? Probably 3 to 5. Yeah, I mainly use Heatseeker. Like if I really care about my trading day, like I'll use charts as well. But sometimes like I'll literally just be walking or like going on a coffee run and I just look at Heatseeker in my Discord, and if I see it's approaching a downside purple node and there's no more prominent nodes below that, and there's still, a bit bright piss yellow node like 30 points above where we're at, like I'll just snipe calls. Yeah, heat map accuracy, again, I was mentioning probably around, I personally think it's 80 to 85%. Yeah, I'll walk you guys through a heat map when people stop asking questions, because right now I'm just trying to go through all the questions because, um, like later I don't want to end up with a fucking massive basket of them. The significance of background colors on heat map, like I shared this previously, but the way the heat map works is in a way where it's supposed to provide maximum contrast in colors based on the values that are on the map. So if there's going to be a massive positive node on the map, then the background color of the heat seeker is going to turn dark purple. If there's a very, very dark purple and negative position on the map, then the background color is naturally going to turn more yellow. Owl will probably not get access to other tickers heat map. I'll go ahead and share this in the end. Like, I need to be a little bit more diligent in spending the time to actually share how to use this before I go into anything else. Yeah, I did post a help guide in Heatseeker questions and answers. And let me show, hold on just a second. I do copy trading Grace. I don't know if you're aware of Dub app, but I did launch my Dub app portfolio probably around 3 or 4 months ago, and I'm up 55% on that one. So, if you don't want to learn how to trade and if you just want to put money behind somebody and just like let it ride, then put half of your life savings behind my port and put the other half of it behind Keon's port. Then you'll be fine. Free members get access to the announcement channel, right? I'll go ahead and post it in announcements, and I'll also post it on my YouTube channel so you guys can view it. All right, so here is my Discord channel, okay? Everybody, if you have access to Heatseeker support here, wait, do people not have access to this? Is this why you're asking for a guide? Okay, so everybody has it. You guys just ignored my message earlier when I said to, okay, yeah, people are blind and people are just short and small attention span. Okay. All right, so one of my members like made me a not gonna make it. Yeah. Yeah, one of my members made me like a pretty good intro heat seeker guide, and let's go ahead and like everybody just open this up and just read it. Like just open it up and read it. Like I don't want to read through this. It's just a waste of time, but I'll go over the most important things, okay? Um put it in TikTok. Yeah, so one of the things that are very, very important is, first of all, like these dark purple nodes and these bright yellow nodes, like if you look at this legend down here, the left side of the extreme and the right side of the extreme here, indicate the strongest magnets, okay? So first thing first, the strongest magnet is the node that has the highest absolute value. Absolute value does not give a crap whether a number is positive or negative, okay? If you've done basic algebra or basic arithmetic, like you should know this. So you can ignore the negative symbol here. Like if you look at this map, the highest node is going to be at 22. This is 22 million because it's by the thousandth. So this is where the strongest pull on the particular day is going to be, okay? If you look at this node, this is the major one. You can see this as a magnet where naturally the gravity will pull towards it. And you can also look at it as a wall. It's a wall in the sense that it's very unlikely that price is going to go above and stay above there. In these scenarios, like even if price pulls up to it, it'll likely reject that 6,500, or if it slightly overshoots, it'll still come back down. Okay. So you think of these major nodes as walls and magnets. Okay. The thing that you have to keep in mind is that these levels are dynamic. I know a lot of people like they wish that this map prints at like 9:30 in the morning Eastern time and never changes. That way, like you know where the market's gonna close. The reality of the market is not that. Like even dealer positioning and like how they adjust their hedging obligations and requirements are changing every single millisecond. And this is why I process the data in milliseconds and I push a heat map out to Discord like every 15 to 20 seconds. Like it should be doing it every 15 seconds. The reason it's every 20 is because Discord has rate limits. So I can only pipe it as often as it enables me to. And then, obviously like the backend processing and calculation time, it takes a few seconds as well. So yeah, I say 15 seconds, but in reality it's anywhere from 15 to 25 seconds. So yes, the heat map in the Discord updates every 15 seconds. These nodes are all dynamic. So, this might be negative 22 million right now, but 5 minutes later, this could become negative 30 million, which means that it grew in value by 50%. What that would indicate is that this node became stronger, right? So the likelihood of price actually hitting it is going up. In terms of how to use the heat seeker, like, I'm actually a poor example. Like earlier when I said that I don't care about, you know, trading view anymore and I don't look at charts, like don't do that. Like the only reason I do that is because like I've been using Heatseeker for around 16 months now because I've self-developed it. So I have that level of relationship and I have that level of confidence with the tool. Like the way I effectively use this is like I just look at these nodes and I'm like, okay, there's support and there's resistance and like that's how I trade it. But anybody else that's utilizing it, like always prioritize price action and market structure first and then complement and pair the heat seeker levels with that. Like if you stop using your chart, if you stop looking at like market structure and price action, like you're probably gonna blow up in the beginning. So until you build a lot of proficiency, like just use your charts and do what you do best. If you're a shitty charter, then you probably are gonna have shitty results. Like you probably need to learn how to become a better charter. In that case, like I don't know how I can help, but the way I teach how to use Heatseeker is that there's really only a few price action techniques you need to use. You don't need to use trend lines anymore. You don't need to know patterns anymore, like head and shoulders, like inverse head and shoulders, like wedges, pennants, all that kind of crap. You don't need to use it. The only things that matter when you're using Heatseeker are going to be double bottoms, they're going to be triple bottoms occasionally. They're going to be double tops. They're going to be triple tops occasionally. And they're going to be golden zone retracements, which are, if you know how to use the Fibonacci retracement, golden zone retracements are anywhere between a 50% retrace to a 79% retrace from the most recent swing high to swing low or a swing low to swing high. Okay. Like those are the confluences that you need to line up with the nodes on the heat seeker. Those are going to be like your S tier entries, okay? Like S tier if you know video games or A plus entries. hold on just a sec. Does heat map need high volume data to be accurate? No, it doesn't. Like generally speaking, like SPX, SPY, QQQ, like there's massive liquidity, so you should be fine. Sam, can I do it with today's example? I'm gonna do it with today's example, and I'm gonna do it with yesterday's example, and I'll also do it for, Reddit puts off the open today. I'll do it for, um, I mean, I could do it for like CoreWeave. Like CoreWeave is pretty good. Yeah, RKLB puts. Yeah, Atlantics, I think you helped with this one. So somebody sent this to me, and special thanks to Atlantics for some of the great write-ups. All right, so back to the different nodes. As I mentioned earlier, the only thing that matters is the absolute value of the node. The higher the absolute value of the node, the stronger that magnet and the stronger that wall becomes. Okay? The only difference you need to understand between a yellow node versus a dark purple node is that a yellow node is suppressive. Suppressive meaning as price approaches it, generally price is going to tend to slow down, and it's going to tend to like soften up a little bit. Whereas a dark purple node is oppressive or a lot more aggressive. Like it's kind of like a, fuel on fire kind of move, an approach where like the moves are going to be more volatile and they're going to be more aggressive as the price approaches it. So there is a lot of scenarios where like as prices like let's say like there's a dark purple node down at like 6450 and like forget about all this on the left over here, okay? Just imagine 6450 in the middle here with 14 million is like the major like king node that I call it. And prices dropping down to it very, very hard. There's a high likelihood that because it's a dark purple node, it's not going to bounce perfectly at 6450. It might even undercut it slightly by like 3 or 5 points and then do a reversal from there. I'll share an example of how it played out today because today was like a pretty prime example of a time that this happened. Um, but when you're playing bounces off of these nodes or you're playing rejections from the upper nodes, you always need to give it a risk to reward, not a risk to reward, but give it like a plus minus 5 points of padding, okay? Like there's a likelihood that the price might drop below 5 points, or on the upside, there's the likelihood that price might reject 5 points before it hits, okay? What does the negative and positive volume mean? Like, I think I just told you what the negative and positive volume mean, but can you elaborate a little bit? How do you find whether it's purple and yellow? Bro, like the map literally shows purple and yellow. Like the 6500 is purple, the 6475 is yellow. Yeah, so some guy, like, you don't really need to know how I'm deriving whether it's purple and yellow. Like, if you want to understand in layman's terms, like, purple just means that dealers are short gamma, and yellow means that dealers are long gamma. Like I simplify it and I make things like dumb simple for you because like you don't need to think about all of the mechanics that underlie it. You could do like research and I can send you some PhD papers if you're really curious about like why it matters. But ultimately, like it's just a major rabbit hole. Like all you need to know is like dark purple and piss yellow and just play off of those nodes. If you only worry about absolute value, what significance is it whether the number is positive or negative? I mentioned that right here. Like, go into this article and just read through this, and you'll get an idea of that. I can't repeat that again. Purple doesn't mean sellers and yellow means buyers. No, that's not the right way to interpret it. Like, just if you really need an interpretation of it, like purple just means that dealers are short gamma, yellow means that dealers are long gamma. So I guess if you're thinking about it from like the people that are on the opposing side of the dealer, then you can justify that definition. Breakout of purple is a squeeze up. No, that's not true. Like it's actually very rare that price is gonna break through purple and squeeze. Like it's very rare. Like in most scenarios, like it'll reject purple, or if there's a purple node upside, but there's an even larger yellow node or purple node above that first purple node, then it could potentially claim it, turn that into a floor. And if the upper node above it continues to grow at a rapid pace, then it could pull more upwards. Yes, in these situations where the nodes are pronounced, you could absolutely play spreads. So for example, over here, if it says you're going towards the 6500, you could play like a 6490 and 6500 debit spread to lower your cost basis, and you can you could trade like that too. Can you get accurate day closing price on SPX on a daily basis based on this? You can try, but again, these are dynamic targets. And one thing that I mentioned is that the last 10 minutes is generally MOC, and you could see a lot of like major shuffling in terms of how dealers are like moving their positions around. So yeah, it's not that easy. Like if anybody is able to get an accurate day closing price on SPX on a daily basis, they would literally become a trillionaire because all you need to do is you could literally play butterfly spreads all day from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Like it's just not going to happen. If anybody says they can get an accurate day closing price on SPX on a daily basis, they're smoking ass. Yeah, how accurate is the dealer data feeding Heatseeker? It's accurate. Like I get the raw data and I add an inference layer on top of it to kind of infer and like predict and forecast, how much of it attributes to like dealers. So, um, I mean, the data itself is accurate. In terms of the inference layer that I've developed, I think it's around 80 to 85%. Is it near real time? Yes, it is. That's what makes Heatseeker very powerful. Like I think if you've ever used Periscope on unusual whales, like they only do it every 10 minutes. But in 10 minutes, there's so many changes that can be happening across how dealers are positioned. So do you really want like stale data is my question. Absolutely not. Yeah, if your expiration is 2 days out, like I still think I mean, I don't really understand the question there, but even if it's 2 days out, like, your current column, the first day column is still going to influence whether that 2 day out contract is going to make money or not. Yep, pretty deep. I'll go ahead and show you a real example from today. Yep, Mav, thank you. When does the node change intraday? It depends. It depends on when dealers want to change their positioning is intraday. One rule of thumb that I have is that around 9:30 a.m. Eastern to like 10 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. Eastern, that's when you're going to see the most shuffling. The reason you're going to see the most shuffling is because like I've actually verified this that is statistically, but the first 15 to 30 minutes of market open is when you see the most like closing or opening of new option positions. So because that is happening, like it's very expected to see like dynamic target changes and like a lot of influx in terms of like the node values. So usually like right off the gate or right off the bat, like you shouldn't be taking a full size. Like, sometimes like it's only 6 minutes in and like I'm like, damn, like this setup is just too good to take, too good not to take, like based off of price action in the heat seeker. Like I'll go ahead and take it, but like you shouldn't be rushing. Like generally after 10 to 10:15 a.m. is when things start to settle down. And then going into the 11 a.m. lunch hour is when things start to fall into like a range. And it's like, kind of like theta chop hour. And then coming out of like 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. is when, things start to solidify again for the second half of the day. Um, and last 30 minutes, I always tell people make sure you size as a lotto because the last 30 minutes, like you could see very, very aggressive movements. Yes, the closer date high node has more of a pull than farther dates. That is correct. The reason that's happening is because market dealers care about current day expiration the most because that's what's going to expire on that particular day. And yes, you can sell call spreads above like major nodes because you don't expect it to break through. But if you're selling call spreads, like I generally don't suggest holding them all the way through close, because like the last 30 minutes can get very different and dynamic. That's because the Robinhood does the auto closing of options, and then you've got the MOC in the last 10 minutes. Is there a heat seeker for futures tickers? You can use SPX for ES, you can use QQQ for NQ, and then M2K or R2K. But yeah, you can use IWM for R2K, and then for gold, you can use GLD. Like we went long on gold like a week or a week and a half ago, and we fucking banked like 500% to 1000% on that one because we saw a node all the way at like 320 and 325. Yeah, what's different between our data and other DEX sources like quant data? Do you have better filters? Yeah, I think every tool uses their own, like what I call inference layer. Like there's no guaranteed way, like there's literally 100% no way to precisely understand what a dealer position is. Like everybody and every tool is making their own assumptions and they're developing their own inference layers. And a majority of the tools out there use something called open interest. Like, for example, if you go into ChatGPT today and you're like, I want to develop a GEX tool that's going to go ahead and compete with Heatseeker, like, give me an algorithm or give me like a formula that's going to help me calculate dealer positioning. Even ChatGPT will tell you to use open interest as part of the formula. And it's very wrong because if you look up the definition of open interest, it just indicates whether I forgot what it is, but anyways, open interest shows you like all of the positions that are currently open, but it doesn't indicate or show what is a short order versus a long order, right? So in that scenario, like you're almost playing a guessing game and it's like 50-50. Like open interest doesn't tell you like what's on the buy side or what's on the sell side. Yeah, co color coding, you can yeah, just go to this like go to this thing that's in the pinned messages and the Heatseeker support. Like just go in here and you could find it here, okay? If anybody asks me questions about this color coding again, I'm just going to point them to this doc. What is my exit rule if things went wrong based on Heatseeker? Brian, it indicates negative gamma above the current price. Yes, I will still expect price to go towards the purple node if that's the strongest one. It doesn't matter where on the map it is, it's a magnet and it's a wall. In many scenarios, though, like there's generally a purple node that acts as support that's below current price. There is occasions though where it's like it's going to be above as well. Yeah, I'm gonna go over a real-time example. Like I'll literally do a walkthrough of how today went. Like today was literally perfect. Like I was in a DM with Keon as well, and I was just kind of walking him through like how to trade it, and it played out really really well. What is my exit rule if things went wrong based on Heatseeker? Alpha trader, like in terms of like risk to reward and like an actual trading strategy, everybody's gonna have a different approach. But like my firm belief is that if you're using Heatseeker, like just size small, like especially like in the beginning, like size small, but like everybody like is part of like my group that I teach, I always tell them to size for zero. Like your size is your stop loss. And the reason I say that is because SPX is like very, very volatile. Like options can literally go down like 50 to 60%, and in one candle it can go up like 120%. So because it's extremely volatile and like dealers are literally always moving to like trigger people's stop loss, if you have no stop loss, then joke's on them, right? Like how are they going to trigger a stop loss? Like that's how you play chess against market dealers. Okay. So like my general rule of thumb in terms of exit rule is pick and snipe the best risk to reward entry you can and like just forget about a stop loss. Like in most scenarios, you're gonna come out green. Do I prefer SPX heat map over SPY? I don't prefer one or the other. I use SPX heat map as primary because I trade SPX, but if SPX and SPY are not in alignment, then that's something to watch out for because SPX and SPY are pretty much like one and the same. And you also don't want to ignore QQQ because QQQ has around 50% weighting on the SPX and SPY. So even if SPX is pointing to the upside, SPY is pointing to the upside, but like QQQ is pointing to the downside or it's looking topped out, the probability of SPX and SPY pumping is actually slim. So that's why I installed those three heat maps, SPX, SPY, and QQQ, because like you need to have a good grasp on all three of them. FOMC, it's been pretty good. Yeah, it's like honestly, like Heatseeker's been great for like news events. Like it's even been good for earnings. Like, I think the LMT, like one time LMT gapped down really hard and it was like, 2000%. It did good for the Lulu earnings. It did good for Avgo earnings. Like, I think it's been more accurate than any other like tool that I've used, even for earnings. Yeah, I do consider the rate of the change of the number. Like that's the reason I use numeric values in these nodes still, because the rate of the number is really important. So for example, like let's say there's a node upside that's at like 30 million, net notional, and then price hasn't moved much, but then that node went up to like 60 million. That means the strength of that magnet has doubled despite the price remaining flat. So the pull should be stronger. Okay? Also, another thing to keep in mind is if the upper no so let's say your current price is at 6,000, the upper major node is at like 6,450, but then there's another downside node that's the same exact strength, at like 63.50, that means you're in an equal pull situation because you've got two magnets that are in opposing forces, and then you're gonna end up in a range or you're gonna end up in a whipsaw kind of setup. So I think earlier, like I was telling everybody, like going into lunchtime, like they've got us in like a whipsaw setup. That's because I've noticed that they've created a map that has equal pull on both opposing sides of the current price. And that's because their intent is to burn data and essentially, turn it into a chopper whipsaw day. What if sudden big red candles not showing on Heatseeker if Trump sends a negative dump? That could happen. Like Alpha Trader, like I think news is one thing that people could just generally never prepare for in advance. On Trump days or like on data days, on data days especially, like I generally tell people to like be very careful. One thing to note is that on heat maps, you'll also notice that sometimes there's going to be hedge nodes. Hedge nodes are effectively if there's like, a PPI or CPI or like a major like data event, there could be like a crazy massive downside node on SPX, but like that doesn't mean that price is going to go down there. It just means that there's a pretty massive like hedge position there because there's a news event that's on the way. So like those are also things that you kind of have to keep in mind and consider as well. Yeah, which columns do we use? Yes, you just use the first column is going to be the strongest, and then second column, third column. But yeah, on the top of the heat maps, you're going to see the expiration dates. Yeah, Books, you got to turn your camera off, bro. We can see your nipples. Does it work for naked? I don't know what naked means. Naked generally means that you're naked short, meaning like you're short call and then you don't have 100 shares to cover it. That's what a naked position is. Yeah, I went oversized for zero just now. No, I don't trade breakouts and retests. Like I'm a reversal trader, so I buy low, I sell high, and I short high and I cover low. Like my strategy is like literally dead simple. Like I don't care about breakouts, I don't care about breakdowns, I don't care about retests, I don't care about falling wedges or ascending wedges or head and shoulders or like bull flags and bear flags. Like the reason I don't care about them is because 95% of all retail traders fail to make a profit in the market. So why would you use a strategy that is taught to retail traders? Like that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Like, don't use retail patterns and retail strategies. Use institutional strategies and institutional tools. My YouTube channel, I think it's Nilesh. Just go to videos and you'll find it. Go to the videos channel. I think it's at glitch underscore SPX or something like that. Oh, glitch trades, yeah. Mr. Krabs, I don't know. I don't know. Like everybody has their own opinion. I think it can help them become better, but like he's already good, so you know, I'm not gonna answer that question. What time frame is best for PA if trading 0 DT SPX? Yeah, 3 minutes is best. Thanks, Jay. These are all of my disciples that are gonna turn into expert traders. Can a magnet node change price position? That's a very difficult question. I don't know if I'm interpreting this one correctly, but yes, a magnet node can change price position because if there's a strong magnet 30 points above what the current price is, then it's likely that the price is going to pump up towards that. Yeah, the premium price range I generally get is like $1 to like $3, or 50 cents to $1 for lottos, generally speaking. For my main account, which I trade, which is like, a couple hundred K, for that one, I trade generally within the $6 to $8 range for all contracts. Could I do live based on current futures price for ES? Yeah, I could probably do it. It's just not a current priority on the roadmap. Like I've got a roadmap of like 50 plus different features and like functionality I have to build out. So I'll add it to the backlog and maybe I can have people vote on it to see what people want. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go over an example, everybody, okay? All right, all right, all right. All right, everybody stop asking me questions now so I can go over a fucking example. Hold on. All right, so you guys see my Discord channel right now, right? You see the Heatseeker category here. Actually, I don't think I piped it in here for that long. What are all these dots on my screen? Is this because you guys drew on my screen? All right, anyways. Okay, it must be my monitor. Somebody drew on my monitor. That's crazy. No, who this GGG dude is drawn on my screen. I don't know how he's doing it. What the fuck? That's crazy. I didn't know you could do that. All right, anyways, let's go up all the way here. Like, I'm gonna scroll up and hold on just a second. Fuck, this is gonna take a long time. Hold on. Buck. All right, hold on. How could I stop people from drawing on my shit? Man, people can't have nice things for this reason. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Hold on just a second. I just need to get out of this fucking annotation tool. All right, so this is where the day opened up, right? This is September 8th, 9:33. This is where it opened up. So over here, like based off of this, if you were to guess, like 6,500 is a major point of interest, and you're kind of trapped in like this 10-point range between, 6,490 and 6,500, okay? Like when a range is this tight, like um, there's not really a good like setup here. Like the setups that you want to take are generally like something where like something like this. Like let's assume that it's September 10th and you've got a major node down here at 14 mil at 6450. And let's say you've got like a major node up here at like 6 mil, right? If you're seeing price dip down into this 14 million and it's like the first attempt, like that is where you want to snipe calls because price is likely to reverse there back up towards this yellow node right here. Like that's a pretty big range. Like I would say that's probably around 75 points you can get right there, like if you get a solid reversal to the upside. So, like those are the setups I tell people to take. If you're seeing something like this where you've just got like a 5 point or 10 point range, it's just not even worth it unless you're gonna scalp for like 20 or 30% gains, okay? So nothing good to see here. Let's just go ahead and see what else we got here. Like throughout the day, like you see the prices at like 64.97. Um, it hits 64.99, right? But as I was saying, like this is a magnet, but it's also a wall. So can you guess what's gonna happen when you hit 6,500 here? Can anybody take a guess here? Yeah, it's gonna go down, right? And let's see what happens. 64.9906, and right away, like it dumped 3 points. Like even this 3 point dump will actually be like a pretty decent like return. And then it went down even further, like 64.93. But then, would you expect it to be able to crack below 64.90 or like very far below it? Let's go ahead and see. Probably not. Like it tries, like it came down to 64.91.97, which is this node right here. But look what happened at 6,500. Remember earlier this was at negative 39 million. Now it's at negative 47 million. So despite price going down, the node at 6,500 was even becoming stronger, which means that the magnet is becoming stronger. So what do you want to do in a situation like this? Somebody tell me the answer. What do you want to do here when price is going down towards 6,500, but you've got a fucking fat node at 6,500? No, not a call credit spread. Yeah, you get calls. No, the answer is you get calls, and then you can write it back up towards 6,500. Okay. So let's say you got calls there. Let's see how much it bounces. Boom. Like you got an 8 point bounce right here. Right back up to 6,500. And look how strong that node is. Now it's even growing even more, like negative 51 million. Okay. So it's a massive area of interest. And like I think Keon mentioned this one on his X today. He's like 6,500 is the key. And like, if it's dipping, then you buy the dip because it's gonna go back up. So that's as simple as it is. One thing that I do have to note here is that the more times a level is tested, irrespective of like what the strength shows on it, similarly to any other support and resistance level, that level, the likelihood of it breaking through becomes higher. So generally speaking, like a one-time test, like I'll go ahead and play the bounce off of it. A second time test, I'll play the bounce off of it because the probability of reversal is like 66%. The third time a level gets tested, the chances of it breaking through is going to be a little bit higher. So generally, after the first and second attempt, I don't trade the third and the fourth attempt. That doesn't mean that it's not going to reject there again. It just means that the level is not as fresh anymore. And just like I mentioned, you should still be using basic price action techniques, right? Which indicate the more times the level is tested, the weaker that level is going to become. So let's go ahead and see what happens. All right. Price is still consolidating within that 5 point range. I think over here it tested it again. It's still very strong. Okay. 6,500. Let's see if it ever breaks through. Okay. All right. Now we got something interesting, right? You got the 6480 and the 6475 accumulating here. These were not here earlier. And also the 6500 is starting to go down a little bit, right? So let's go ahead and see what happens. Now, the first time it bounced at 6490, and as I was mentioning, the levels are likely to bounce once or twice. So even earlier when it retested the 6490 again, it bounced, right? All right, let's see where this bounce takes us now. It's honestly just chopping around. Like this is really chop that they created over here. And then they take it down to that lower node again. Like they take it down to this lower node because like ultimately like you've got more downside pull that's accumulating here at 6475, okay? And then you get a little bit of a bounce. Ultimately, you're getting a bounce because like the 6500 is still very, very strong. So now you've got like the king node at 6500. You've got some smaller nodes accumulating to the downside here. So immediately, like the thing that I'm thinking is like, okay, like yeah, this thing could bounce back up because that 6500 is still not letting off, but it's still early in the day. And like my thought process is that dealers are positioning for a potential downside move. When you're seeing new accumulation of a node that was not once there before, like that is what you want to keep an eye on. And you want to remember and keep track of the delta rate of change on these particular nodes. For example, if 6470 was at like 10 million right earlier and now it's at 20 mil, it's doubled in size, right? Whereas the 6500 earlier was at like 41 million and it only grew to 52 million, which means that it only grew like 15 to 20%, okay? Felipe, yeah, I mean, generally I can, like, I mean, that's going to be a feature request later too. Yeah, so more dealers are starting to hedge for a potential downside move, and you'll start to see how it all plays out. Okay, like the 6500 is still very strong, and remember, like the more times a level is tested, the weaker it's going to become. Okay, and you've also got like more nodes accumulating to the upside right here. So what's going to happen? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen here? The 6500 level is being tested for the 13th time. Yes. So what is going to happen here is you get a breakout. The price is going above it. But what's going to happen here now? You've got another, this is what I call a gatekeeper node at 6515. This is not going to be able to break out to 6530 unless it can clear 6515. But the main thing that I'm keeping an eye on if I expect a breakout and for the upper targets to hit is after it breaks out, I want the 6500 to become weaker in strength. The reason you want it to become weaker in strength is because if it breaks out, but that 6500 node is getting stronger, that's going to be a problem because that strong ass magnet is still there. So you're in a position where even if it breaks out above and you get a nice pop, the pop is going to fade back down to where that 6500 node is. Okay? So let's see what happens. I think a couple of times like it used the 6500 as a floor and it bounced. And then you could have gotten like a pretty decent scalp off of the bounce. Keep going. Yeah, exactly. So pretty much like, any other person's gonna be like, holy shit, like this broke out, like I'm gonna chase this, right? But like what I told Keon earlier is like actually like that 6500 node has not let off, meaning that the pops are gonna fade. So you should actually be looking to take profits right around this level right here. Because look how strong it is. The 6500 is at negative 75 million now, even though price broke out of it. So the dealer pull to the downside is still very, very strong. Like even now, it was at 75 million, it's at 83 million now, okay? So if we were in a scenario where this 6,500 was dropping down to like negative 40 million or like negative 30 million or something like that, and like you've got these massive upper nodes growing and exponentially like becoming stronger, then that's a good signal that you can hold calls and you can look for a higher move up. But in this scenario, you can't. Yeah, when it's at around 6510 or like around that range, like you could short the pop down to 6,500. Yeah, you can long the retest of 6,500, and I do think that a couple of times it did retest it. Like later on, I'll go ahead and flip over to my trading view so I can go ahead and show you how this played out. But this was the retest of 6,500 here. Like it tapped it at 90 million, and then right off that retest, it bounced like, I think you got like a 5 point bounce minimum. So that's 5 points there, 7 points, 8 points. Yeah, you got an 8 point bounce. And an 8 point bounce like this, in all honesty, is like really, really good. So you could still get like 50 to 70% on that trade this early in the day. Yeah, YS generally, if there's two back-to-back strikes that are light purple that have more than 6,500, like that's still a pretty strong signal. And it could have some upside pull. But the problem here is that you've got a gatekeeper here at 65.15. There's no shot that you hit 65.30 until the 65.15 gets out of the way. Okay, so that's your 8 point bounce. And then, earlier as I was mentioning, like you keep an eye on the 6,500. Look at it now. It's at negative 90 million now. So like that value had only kept on going up, which is how it was indicative that there's no way like price is going to go higher. Does that make sense so far? All right, now it tests again. And then in this scenario is when it breaks down now from here. And then remember these nodes that were down here at 65.85 and 65.75? You've still got that cluster there. 6,500 becomes a resistance now. Oh no, Clinton. Yeah, if you missed it, bro, you got to go through the recording later. Yeah, if the gatekeeper wasn't there and if the 6,500 was letting off the gas a little bit and the 65.30 was accumulating a lot faster and kind of taking over as the dominant node, then yes, you could have seen a higher move up today. All right. And then yeah, at that point, you just fucking around the 6,500 again. Like it's still a major. So remember earlier I mentioned that if it breaks down below a purple node, it's likely that it's gonna hunt up to 5 points below it, and then it could still bounce. This is exactly the scenario in which that happened. So if you look here, like, and this is the reason why I tell people like, try not to use stop losses. It's because right here, 6,500, right? You're expecting a bounce, so you're gonna play calls off this bounce because it's only the second bounce. This is the second attempt, right? Now what happens is that it undercuts all the way down to 64.9630 right here, and it looks like it's going to keep going down, right? But it actually hunted the liquidity and then it did a V-shaped reversal all the way back up from there. It did like a 10 point reversal from there, and like that's earlier. I think that printed pretty well. I think I got like 60% or 70% on that trade. But again, like that's an example where like the first bounce is good, the second bounce is a 66% chance, and then the third bounce and fourth bounce are a little bit sketch. So, it comes back, retests the 6,500 again. Like these downside nodes are still here, but ultimately, like this is a whipsaw setup. Like you've got it anchored to the 6,500, you've got pull up here like 15 points away, and you've got pull down here 15 points away. So that's where you end up in a range for the day. Like if you remember, like this is the lunchtime range where it just chopped around all day, and like that's literally all it did. And then you just get a bunch of chop in like a 10 to 15 point range. Yeah, I can't increase the frequency of these snapshots. So first thing first, like there's Discord limitations, and number two, like in order for me to update these values in the backend while ingesting real-time data and processing it across 300 plus tickers, like if anybody comes from like a software engineering background, like that is a very, very resource intensive and memory intensive and CPU intensive task. And also It's based off of the level of like concurrency and parallel requests the data vendor allows. And they're just not going to open it up for me to request it that often. So yeah, it's every 15 seconds, but you're not going to find anyone else that does it more frequently than that. Boomborg, the one that needs internship. All right. So now remember, this is the third time it's been tested. It broke down. Okay, now keep an eye on this, okay? It broke down. So what do you think is going to happen here? You've got a 6500 node. You've got 6585 being the second strongest. Where are you going to take a call from? Yes. So let's see it play out. So like it just whipsaws a little bit. It whipsaws, it whipsaws, it whipsaws. Like it fucking whipsaws all day. Like once they get you in that whipsaw range, like they literally just fuck you up. And this is where the map gets a lot more clear. Like these are the setups you want to play. Like earlier when you saw that whipsaw, like you don't want to play that. But look at this shit. Like this is a perfect 15-point range. So when you got a range like this, you short off of the 6500 and you go long off of the 6485. Like it's literally as clear as day and night, okay? And let's watch how this plays out. All right. Let's watch how 6486 and people are like, "Oh shit, like it's dumping, right? It's dumping. It's dumping." But is it? Because now we're at the king node. It's at 131 mil. Like this is your best risk to reward entry for a reversal back to the upside. And let's see what happens, okay? Like over here, like, you got a little bit of a I mean, you got a little bit of a dump below it. Like it dumped like 30 points below it, but like, it's nothing to worry about. Like you just stay in the trade, you hold, you hold, you hold. And look at this now. Like you see this node upside grew again after the bounce, and it keeps you in the trade. Like I guess the question that a lot of people ask is like, okay, well, there's a 6485, there's a 6500, like where's the price gonna go? Like in scenarios like this, I don't fully expect it to go all the way back up to 6500. So you need to sell into the pumps if you're in calls. Like the most important thing, especially when you're trading a 0-day expiration, is that you don't sell your calls after a rejection of price. You sell your calls into a green candle or a pump candle into the ideal upside target that you're expecting. Okay? So that's the most important part to keep in mind. Like, don't just hold and pray for like, 6,500. The reason that it's unlikely that it can happen is that the 6485 is still pretty strong to the downside. So you've almost got equal pull, right? Yeah, it's just inversing the color of the king node, correct? All right. And yeah, so it went up to 6495 here and then it rejected because the 6485 is still a pretty strong node, right? So it's just gonna whipsaw and ping pong between these two levels for the rest of the day. And that's exactly what happened. Like it just stayed in the range. And then I think it hits, 6485 here again. And I mean honestly, like if you really wanted, like you could play that bounce again. It's a second bounce. I think even off of that, like you could probably take calls there and still make money because it's bounce number two, right? And let's see how high it went up. Yep, off that bounce, it went all the way up to, it went up 7 points again. And then, yeah, 15 points up here. And then those hit like 200%. And then, yeah, that's how the day ended. So that's a live walkthrough of how everything happened. Yeah, if a node at 6470 started gaining volume while the 6500 loses, we would assume a further move down under the condition that the 6500 is continuing to diminish in value and the 6470 is growing in value and the 6485 has been tested like two or three times and there's a likelihood that it could break through. The answer is yes. All right. So I kept this simple for the sake of like simplicity and helping people understand everything. One thing that you have to understand is that SPX, SPY, and QQQ, like you've got to look at them all together. Like they've all got to be in support of each other. So like don't just blindly trade off of SPX because sometimes like SPX might be showing upside where QQQ might be showing downside, right? So in that scenario, like you have divergence and like you just want to be very cautious. But if you're in a scenario where QQQ is showing massive downside and SPX is nearing a call wall to the upside, like a major like potential rejection level, that means that the yeah, that means like the QQQ map or the SPX map is in support of downside on QQQ. So if your SPX is near call wall and QQQ is showing a major downside node, that is confluence. Okay? If SPX is showing massive upside and if QQQ is showing massive downside, that's divergence. Like don't trust it. Just sit out until it clears up. Yeah, the background color can help supplement to indicate whether price is going to gravitate more towards the yellow or purple. That's correct. Yep, correct. Correct, correct. So any questions with regards to how this all played out? Do you guys want to see a picture of the map that or my chart where I kind of played all of this? Would that help? Okay, hold on just a second. All right, let me know if you can see my trading view. All right, so everybody should have like a mental model and image of like how the heat maps played out, okay? This is the start of the day. And then generally what I do is like I mark the major levels. Like I mark like, 6,500 major, uh, mark 6515 minor. This is the minor upside, right? And then, okay. So right here, you got one test, it failed. Second test failed. And then the third test broke through, came down. Is this the right? Yeah, this is. All right. And then remember earlier, this is the level where I said that the purple nodes can hunt, right? So 6,500, you got a 5 point hunt right here. But it still bounced around 10 points, came back up here, and then it finally broke down. But even if it breaks down, like the next level down was 6485, right? And then it starts to formulate this range right here. At this point, like you're literally just trading this range, so you could play rejections off of you could play rejections like off of the 6500, or you could play the bounces right here. Like you got one perfect bounce right here, like it's perfect, and then you got another bounce over here, which is perfect. Okay? One thing to keep in mind that I need to share with everybody is like don't get into the habit of chasing nodes. Like just because you should not chase nodes. Like every example that I showed you just now is a reversal from nodes, right? It's not a oh shit, there's a major node here. Like yeah, let's say it's like 6,500 and like you're currently at like 64.96. Like would you buy calls there? The answer is no, because what I was mentioning earlier is like you always got a plus minus five like points of variance, right? So like there's literally no good risk to reward for you to chase a node at 6,500 if you're only 3 or 4 points away, okay? So just keep that in mind. Like you always want to look for like the really, really good risk to reward setups, okay? Yeah, hold on just a second. Yeah, hey, just a heads up to anybody in the Asgard Discord. I'm gonna set like very, very fine-grained rules. Like later, if anybody wants to like get like a full membership to Heatseeker or Skylit, like let's just make sure it's through Keon's link because that's the whole like nature of the partnership. Like I'll go ahead and go into the end like what kind of access I'm gonna provide. And if anybody needs full access, like Keon and I have like an agreement with regards to like what we're willing to do for members of Owls. So like go through his link and use his codes. Like don't just sign up right now, okay? And anybody that's on my side, like don't post your affiliate link in here. This is Owls and this is Keon's audience, and I just want to make sure that we're respectful of that. How does this play out when there is a complete drawdown day or upside day? I don't know what you mean by that, but there's scenarios where like all the nodes are just going to be pointing to the upside, like just straight up. I think Labor Day was not Labor Day, but July 4th was like a really good example. Like we just had like major key nodes like 30 points upside and like we just trended up nonstop and like that was it. Like you fucking banked. Like I think calls all hit like 1,000% plus on those. All right, so No, I'm probably not going to provide API access right now. I think later in the future I might do it for like enterprise clients. Like there's a couple of enterprise clients like I'm in discussion with that want to use the data from it, but yeah, right now it's not a priority. You want to see my Pornhub search history? No, I can't unlock that one. Sorry. Hold on just a second. So hold on. So people wanted to see the CRWV call out in MBIS. Yeah, I can go ahead and do that. All right. Do you guys see my Pornhub window? Yeah, one second. Clinton, I'll go ahead and go over all the terms and details later. So, oh shit. So Reddit earlier, like, so in the day, like in terms of the ranges on Reddit, like the way we're seeing this is okay, 250 is the upside and like 210 is the downside, right? So if, especially given these are end of week targets, this is for September 12th. So given that Reddit was pumping out the open into like 245 to 250, like at this point, if you look at the risk to reward on this trade, like the reward that you have on this trade is like fucking 35 points to the downside, right? And like the risk you have on the trade is like 5 points upside. That is a 6 to 1 or like that's a 7 to 1 risk to reward ratio, right? Anything that is a 3 to 1 ratio or higher is a setup you want to take. Like whenever you're talking about a trade entry is not good unless you have a 3 to 1 risk reward ratio or better. Okay? Yeah, we're hosted on Vercel. Yeah, I use Next.js as well. So yeah, so Reddit, if the map's opened up, days going by, it pumps up into like 245, 250, like you take shorts and then you just fucking bank on it, right? Even on the Vex, like the Vex is like more oriented towards swings. Generally, I use it in confluence with the Gex, and when they're in alignment, like it's a very strong signal that the levels are going to play out. So, pump it to 250, 210 is like really strong in the opposing direction. So, on Monday, since it pumped up, you want to reject that. Man, you guys just want free heat maps now, all right? Okay, hold on. So CoreWeave is also another one where like I was long on CoreWeave on my Dub app from last Friday because even last Friday like this 100 node and this 110 and 115 was like very very brightly lit. Even on the Vex, like look at this cluster at 115 to 110. So like there's not much to the downside, like it's a lot stronger to the upside. So I played swings for an upside move. Okay. And then I think yeah, MBIS, like there wasn't a crazy node like upside, but like, it was at 64, 3 points to the upside. 67 was the major one. So anytime like, so the gray highlights were the current prices, and then it automatically borders or highlights like the major king node when you're using Skylit. So I'm actually not doing anything scrolling. Like when I create my watch list, like I literally just scroll through tickers like this, and it automatically does the scrolling and identifies like the king node for me. So this makes it really, really easy for me to kind of track and indicate, what a good trade is going to be. Oh, BMNR is like an interesting one that people are looking at. It's at the Gex support right now at 44. So I wonder if this one's going to bounce anytime soon. All right. So when you're using the heat map, like one thing that's also very, very important to track is that, right now it looks like it's at 44 and that's a floor and that it might be able to bounce from here and go all the way up to 51. One thing that's very important is that you need to understand and check where price was delivered from. Because if price was delivered from 51, that indicates that 51 and 51.5 was actually just a call wall and a put wall that it rejected from that ended up sending it all the way down to 44. Okay. Now, if 51 and 51.5 is like absolutely fresh and you're seeing it at a floor of 44, then, potentially it could go. Oh shit, you're stuck in calls. Hold on, let me see. Why is anybody stuck in calls on BMNR? Didn't this? Yeah, BMNR actually looks pretty good in my opinion. Like I don't know what they do, but I would be interested in like swinging some lottos on this one. Yeah, BMNR looks pretty good. Like if it could hold 44, then I think there's a likelihood that it could start inching back up. The Gex is supportive at 51, so I think that's good. And then I think Keon and I we entered Costco. Like Costco was a pretty obvious one. I think earlier in the day it was at like 960. So 960 to the downside, like my risk was 5 points, and then to the upside, my reward was 15 points. So it's a 3-to-1 risk to reward. I took swings and I'm up like 115% right now. And I think even the VEX is supportive all the way up to 1,000. So this was like a really good setup for me to take. UNH was another one. Like last week, I called this one out. I think some other people alerted it as well, but this one looks supportive all the way up to 350. So it was a good buy the dip. And all right, hold on. I don't have guild here yet, but I can go ahead and add it just a second. Nobody has access to this one. This is just an admin panel that I have access to, and I can add it. It says that that's a bug. It should get added. Yeah, app is showing downside. I don't know why. App was pumping pretty hard. Like again, like it's not always going to be right, but app is a little bit iffy because for next week it shows all the way up to 600 and for this week it shows down. So, it's kind of like a divergence. Like I'm just not super confident in that kind of setup. Yeah, Marvel is showing, yeah, this is not really a good setup in my opinion. Like it just looks kind of choppy and like potential downside here, so I'm not really interested in that. What I would do is like I would pair it with like the SMH, which is the ETF for semiconductors. And even the ETF for semiconductors doesn't look that great. Like it's showing, potential downside and even the VEX is like, it's got a massive cluster here, potential upside at 315. Like this just is not like it's divergent for me. I don't like it. Yeah, I posted Tesla one earlier. You guys shouldn't need to see that one again, but that one's straightforward. Oracle is like kind of in a whipsaw zone. I think they have earnings soon. Yeah, this one looks like a crapshoot for me. Not really a big fan of it. It's got like equal pull to both sides. But yeah, this is how I do my analysis. This is how I create my watch list. Like I just scroll through these. I think SBET. No, I don't have SBET added yet, but I can add it. Can I alert some setups this week when I get the hang of it? I don't really like to alert because I get like 100 pings after I alert asking if I'm still in a trade. Yeah, Lulu looks pretty supportive here. Like it could bounce off of 165 towards the 180. So this is something to look out for. I think this is a pretty good setup and it's oversold. Yeah, GME looks pretty supportive to the upside. Like this one makes it look like, it's going to step up into the right. Like when I see setups like this, I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty bullish. Like they're accumulating to the upside is the right. Which makes me wonder. I wonder if memes are gonna start running. No. Yeah, so remember open. So open gapped up and pumped, but despite the gap up and pump, like even this morning, the keynote is at 6. So should have been an easy short to the downside. Or at least it's not a good move to chase upside, I think. In my experience, one of the best ranges that I've ever seen, generally like 30 to 50 point range on SPX is like really, really good. Yeah, Apple's okay. I'm not really a big fan of these kinds of setups. It's just like chop, not that great. Like, sure, it might squeeze up to like 245, but like, your downside risk is also 7 points. It's like a 50-50 risk to reward, 1-to-1. Not a good setup. Yeah, maybe closer to the event tomorrow. Like, remember I said that these things are dynamic, so tomorrow I'll see how it shapes out and maybe it'll clear up a little bit with better risk to reward. Yeah, RH is just whatever. Looks pretty equal split almost, a little bit leaning towards the downside. All right, y'all are just gonna make me go through like fucking all the tickers now. Yeah, 157.5, like maybe it could bounce, but like 157.5 just looks really sticky for Palantir right now. And the Vex and the Gex is not in confluence, so it's a no-go for me. Yeah, Hood we knew was gonna pump because this week's King Node was at like 110, so I think a lot of people played it for the SMP inclusion on this one. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about coin and MicroStrategy. Pro Access has access to Skylit. Currently it's not automated, so like after you sign up for it, you just have to send me a DM and I can go ahead and get you added. But again, don't sign up. Like wait for Keon to share his link and his promo code, please. Adobe, yeah, Adobe. The reason I entered Adobe was because I saw this massive 400 node for September 19th. I entered this one on Friday and it fucking ripped hard today. So I made some pretty good money on Adobe. I took this one on my dub portfolio. On my dub portfolio on Friday, I rebalanced into Adobe and CoreWeave, and both of them ripped pretty hard today. Yeah, eye surgical is pretty interesting. Like we were talking about this one. I think like, off of 460, it has like pretty good risk to reward to the upside. On tick like this is just a general rule of thumb, but any tickers that have low liquidity that have a very wide bid and ask range, always buy with a limit order at the bid. Like don't get in if you're gonna have to pay market or if you're gonna have to pay ask. Like you should only play low liquidity tickers like ISRG, Snow and like those wide bid ask spreads if you're able to lowball the bid and get filled on a down candle. Yeah, black from the waist up. Shouldn't it be black from the waist down? Anyways, yeah, the SPX in the afternoon are even stronger than during the morning. That's correct. Yep. Yeah, that's the charm effect that kicks in, and like, I think a lot of tools like they separate charm, Vama, speed, and all of those different Greeks, but for my Gex and Vex maps, like I actually integrate it and incorporate it into the backend calculation. So one thing that's like very like incorrect and like kind of tricky for people is that I call it Gex and Vex, and it's because I haven't come up with a better interpretation of it. Like I actually just do Gex and Vex, and like I integrate and incorporate like the rest of the Greeks in the backend as part of my processing. So yeah, that's like one thing that people don't understand, and like why this data works differently than all of the other tools that you see. Yeah, I think. Wait, did HD do a bearish reversal today? Like, I don't know how the actual chart played out, but I was watching. Yeah, this one's like kind of interesting. Yeah, so like HD, like if it ever gets to 435, like this would be a good short for 1 week out, targeting like 415 and 395. Could be a good one. Like that's the kind of setup that like I like to look for. Yeah, C is kind of spread out. Like it's like if you look at the GEX, it's like yeah, not really sure. I wonder, so C looks pretty good. I'll usually pair it with the sector ETF, and like if XLF doesn't support it, then like I just don't take it. You could look at JPM maybe. Yeah, JPM is like slightly supportive of upside too. Let's see, Morgan Stanley. When you're trading like tickers, like always look at the peers that they have in the space. So like, banking stocks are like GS, you know, like JPM, I think BAC. Just look at how all of them look. If they're not all in alignment, then it's just a crapshoot. Like there's like 200 and something tickers here. Like you could find a better setup. Yeah, on fib retracements, I use fib retracements on the time zone that I'm trading. So if I'm gonna be holding a trade for like a couple of minutes, then I'm gonna use a 3 minute chart. Nvidia, last time I looked, it did not really look that great. It just looks like flat chop. Yeah, it's just stuck in this like 172.5, 175 range in my opinion. I don't think I have G Pro yet. I didn't even know G Pro had options. I'll go ahead and add it. Yeah, JD, I think a lot of people are in JD. Yeah, this one can go up to 33, and then the Vex is supportive up to a little bit higher going into next week, 38 and 40. But yeah, Gex is a little bit iffy. I've been playing China for like the past 2 to 3 weeks. Like Baba and PDD have been paying like nonstop, so I'm good. Yeah, Costco is really hard to get good fills on too, so I usually always buy limit. So if anybody trades options, like you want to get really, really good at buying with limit buys and selling out with limit sells. If you're using Heatseeker, you know where the floors are, you know where the likely ceilings are. So it's a lot easier to kind of like front run a move and like place a limit buy on SPX on a dip candle into a Gex floor. Then you get a really, really good fill. The reason I actually never suggest chasing and I hate when people chase and like I never chase is because if you're chasing a green candle on calls, like you're literally slapping the ask and like you're buying into inflated premiums, which means even if it chops, your contract is going to go red, right? So if you're allergic to drawdown like I am, like and you're chasing a green candle, like you're fucked from the get-go. Whereas if you buy into a red candle into a GEX support, predicting and forecasting a bounce to happen because there's a larger upside area of interest, you actually buy a call option from somebody panic selling theirs at the bid, so you can get in really, really cheap. And on even a tiny wick back up, you're going to be up in profits like 10 to 15% on SPX. So you just have to learn and get good at the art of limit buys and limit sells. I don't know if I have Guild. I never trade Guild, but I'll add that one too. No, it doesn't work for commons. So cash, that's a subjective question. Like SPX and QQQ, a 15 to 20 point range, yes, that would pique my interest. Even a 5 to 10 point range would pique my interest, but that's only if it's later in the day when contracts are cheap. So generally, you always have to weigh the risk to reward in terms of the range against the contract price. Bug, why do you keep on saying JD, bro? I'm showing JD right now. Yeah, MDB is okay. So we caught the gap up on MDB, Snow, and Datadog and CRM because all of the cloud tickers were showing up and to the right. That was on my dub portfolio as well. That sent it pretty high. Yeah, MDB looks okay, but I mean, this thing is gapped up so heavy already. It's like I just don't like to trade calls on gap ups. It's not really the best thing to do. The chart itself looks pretty exhausted. So again, like always supplement it with charts. Like I don't think this is gonna crack 330 this week. Yeah, net Gex and net Vex. Like Genny, just think about Gex as like better for short-term trades or like day trades and stuff like that. And net Vex is generally a more speculative second derivative Greek that I use and analyze. It's more suitable for like speculative swings. Ultimately, use Vex in confluence with Gex. If Vex is lining up with Gex, like that just gives you a little bit more conviction. If they're not talking to each other and if they're not in confluence, then you should be a little bit skeptical. And ultimately, like if Vex is like shitting to the fucking moon, like you could try lottos on it. Like the reason, like the way I was able to find like the UNH trade a long time ago for like a couple thousand% with the Warren Buffett 13F filing is because it showed on the Gex map all the way upside. So I don't ignore them. My port on dub trade is hashtag glitchy. Yeah, I'm still in Adobe and CoreWeave on that one right now. I'll be up another 3 to 4% tomorrow because of CoreWeave probably. Yeah, CMG looks okay. It's like equal split to both sides. No trade setup for me. Have I tried it in non-US markets? No, I haven't. No, I don't use Thinkorswim. No problem, Samsung. See you later, dude. I don't have RBRK. I have Roblox though. And Roblox looks pretty shitty right now. I'm not really sure what this one wants to do. Yeah, crowd was looking pretty bullish when I looked at it last week. So that's a dip that I wanted to buy. Let's go ahead and see what the map looks like on that one. Yeah, CrowdStrike looks pretty interesting. Like it's got pretty strong nodes at 460 and 540 for next week. So yeah, CrowdStrike, if it ever dipped down to like 420 or something like that, it could be a pretty good dip buy. I like Crowd right here. Like looks like a pretty good setup for a swing. You know, when you're looking at these individual tickers, like just always make sure that the market is going to be supportive of it. Like if you're looking at the maps and you're like, yeah, SPY and QQQ looks like it's going to dump, but crowd's going to go up, like just remember like the overall sector strength and like market strength also matters. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, Tesla, I already shared that one today. Like the reason I didn't buy the dip is because this 330 node is here. So I just don't like it where it's currently at. Yeah, even for next week, like you've got a major at 400 here, but like you've got another major here at 290. So if you get the midpoint of both of these, like, you know, this might settle anywhere from like 340 to 330. Yeah, when I'm trading, I generally try to stay away from names that are like crowded and overpopulated. Like those are retail traps. Yeah, Chewy looks okay. It's looking at 44 right now for this week. Does it have earnings this week? Yeah, Chewy does have earnings. Chewy has earnings on Wednesday. Okay, so Chewy is a great example, everybody. If you remember earlier my note, the king node is at 44. One thing to always keep in mind is where price was delivered from, because it's likely that 44 could have been a call wall for the week and rejected there. And if you actually look at Chewy for today, it pumped all the way up to $43.51 and rejected like a dollar and $2.90 or something like that. So for Chewy, like this node up here, 44, like sure, it might bounce back up to it, but it's not a guarantee and it's not high probability because what actually happened is it hit the 44 node today, and it actually rejected and bounced back down from there. So Chewy is one of those scenarios where like price is being delivered from a king node, so don't look at that as an absolute target with too much conviction. The one in Owls is for Gex. Yeah, RR I don't think has options. I'm playing commons in RR though. I've been in RR from since like 80 cents or something like that. Oh, hold on. Let me see what RR is at. I have fucking a boatload of RR right now. I got in like really, really cheap on that one. Yeah, Tesla can nuke this week. It's not really looking that great. I don't really like playing Tesla. Like Tesla, like a lot of times the premiums and the IV just doesn't justify it. There's so many other tickers that you could play that has like way better premiums where you can get for cheap and get like a really good risk to reward. Oh, it does. Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get it added then. Yeah, after I add a new ticker, usually I tell people to wait like 3 to 4 weeks before they start using it because it just takes time to start seeding and stabilizing all of the data. Yeah, any future plans to do live voice to talk to the heat maps on it? Yeah, I can do it every now and then. Like right now, like my full-time focus has just been on running my dub portfolio and my options portfolio and then like product development. Like I'm running on fumes right now. Like there's a fucking shit ton of work for me to do and there's just not enough time. So yeah, if you see like a lot of the plans that I have set up here, like just giving a quick heads up. I'm actually working on an account management system because there's a fund that I'm trying to onboard as well, and they want to be able to use this across like multiple accounts. But yeah, if you see here, one feature I'm working on right now is like multi-watch list and favorites. So on the Skylit UI, I should be able to like add favorites, and then you should be able to create multiple watch lists to scroll through. I'm trying to add a feature where we can add more axes, so you can customize the strikes, so you can minimize the maps, and then you can add more expirations to scroll through. I'm gonna be adding a replay system for the UI. So the replay system, in terms of like historical maps, in our Discord, we actually have a channel called Heatseeker bot where you can pull this up from, and I'll show you guys how it looks. And yeah, later, like we're gonna have a scribe agent too, where you can pretty much track like the nodes and then keep an eye on it and have an agent to track it all. And then everything is going to be automated ultimately. Like these are all like agentic AI features I'm working on. And the partnership with Kion is exciting because he is probably one of the best flow users in the market today. And I'm literally going to be building Flow Seeker for people like him. So, everything he does manually today, like I'm planning to have AI agents do that grunt work for him so we could just go out and, drive our 911s and enjoy while his agent is just posting automated stuff. All right. Yeah, thank you, Pradeep. Like the UX is like very important. Like I'm building it in a way where like even dummies can use it. Like it shouldn't be hard to use. Yeah, Lou, there is a bot that can copy options trades. Like even I can develop a bot that copies option trades, but like it's a very slippery slope and it's gonna get shut down eventually because if you can copy trade options, the person that's running the options trades that has everybody copying them can literally pump their bags by alerting a low liquidity option, right? Like the SEC is not gonna allow that from a long-term perspective. So I don't even work on it because I know it would get shut down. Yeah, raw. Let me go ahead and show you the historical heat maps that I have right now. So, 1 second. So in this channel, I have my heat map bot. So even if people don't use Skylit, like, what you could do is you can pull up a heat map for, Tesla. You could do it for Gamma. You could do like 2025, 0908, 0935. All right, let's see how a Tesla map looked like 5 minutes into the open today, okay? Like we can go ahead and pull up something like this. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, Mr. Krabs, that's me. Yeah, so Rod, this is how we do it. And like this is the map from today at 9:35 a.m. And even from here, like this 350 is like the major. So, in this scenario, like I'm not really looking for calls because it's an equal split. Like it's just not really a good range to trade. All right. So if you look at the bottom of it, it just shows the time of the snapshot here. Rod, let me show you another example. Like, we could do something like let's actually look at what open looked like. I just want to see. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the map for last week for open. So 05. Because hindsight stuff is just always whack. So let me just actually try to see what it looked like. Yeah, so open was at, yeah, so you see how last week the king node was at 7, but it actually goes down to 6 for this week. So for me, like I know open is bearish, but it gapped up over the weekend. So what does that indicate? You don't chase calls on that one. If anything, like you would expect it to fade back down to 6. And look at where open is at right now. It's at $6. So that's how you use the map. All right. Any other questions? Just post them in the Zoom chat. Yep, no problem. Yeah, if there's no more questions in like the next 2 to 3 minutes, I can go ahead and shut it off. JCal, I'll go ahead and I can go ahead and discuss it. So again, like don't sign up and like nobody else post their affiliate link. Like don't sign up because like me and Keon are working on something right now, but currently, just for SPX, IWM, QQQ, and SPY, which are like the indexes and ETFs, we're like people that are currently members, like they pay 300 a month for it. So like one thing that I don't want to do is like I don't want to do those guys dirty and like give them a stick up their ass. So what I'm doing is I'm planning to open up the heat maps for SPY, QQQ, SPX, and all of that in the Owls community on Tuesdays of every week. So it's gonna be like it'll be like a demo day or a trial day where you can literally use it to its full maximum potential on Tuesdays. So that's tomorrow, which is why we wanted to do the onboarding sessions. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do. Like it's a very, very like high intent tool. Like you really have to have the true intent of becoming a professional trader and like like a good trader, right? Like if you just want to copy alerts, like Owls has great analysts that do all the hard work where you could just copy their alerts, right? Heatseeker and Skylit is built for professional self-directed traders, and ideally your portfolio size should be like north of $30,000. So it's not like a cheap, unusual whales type of tool. It's a premium tool, premium data, like very good effectiveness. So yeah, the price reflects that. The pro option, like with the access to the Skylit UI and access to like the Discord and everything, like the Discord is not even going to be that useful. Like you really just need access to the Skylit UI, but that one goes for 700 a month right now. I do, but like I'm in Owls like pretty often. Like the only two I really focus on right now is just Owls and Asgard. Yeah, again, like I was gonna go ahead and have Keon discuss this because we kind of had this conversation before, but I think he's still at this guy must still be at the dentist. So like I'll go ahead and discuss with him and like we'll post an announcement. Sam, if you're an Owls member, you'll already see them in the Owls server. Tomorrow it's gonna be live, so you can use it tomorrow and then it'll be live again next Tuesday. ML, like I wouldn't say it's neural network based. It's rule based, but it has a data model that's applied to it that is being utilized to infer. Yeah, I mean Pradeep, like that's what Keon does anyways. Like he has access and he's able to post whatever he wants at his own leisure. So like he's still gonna be posting like insights and share information with you all. That's kind of the whole nature of the partnership. And yeah, eventually like as we build out Flowseeker, like he won't even need to use unusual whales anymore, and he's gonna be full-time utilizing the Skylit terminal. Yeah, Black from the Waist Up, it was live today, but it was mainly because I wanted to go ahead and test and make sure it's working today and get everybody's feet wet. Now, since you've had the official onboarding and educational session, you should be able to use it tomorrow. And maybe t after tomorrow, I could probably do one more recap to kind of reinforce rules and learnings that we covered today because people don't just get things on the first try. Like, you're gonna fuck up, you're gonna forget things I said, you're gonna do dumb shit. But most importantly, don't chase nodes. Make sure you're always sizing appropriately. First 30 to 45 minutes of market open, size small, be very cautious. Last 30 minutes of market close, be very careful. Okay? Like these are just very fundamental rules that you have to keep in mind, and like you'll be fine if you just keep that all in mind. Yeah, it's bedtime for a lot of people, so yeah, shorty, like there's probably gonna be like we're gonna look into some deals for like potentially like first month like discounts or like half off or something like that. We'll go ahead and figure it out. But just know there's like over 200 people that are already using it at the current prices that are listed. So like my hands are tied to just make sure that I'm being fair to those people as well. Sam, that'll probably just be for the first month. Yeah, trust me. Like I've done a survey of like all of the people that are using this. I've gotten like 90 plus responses and like yeah, the tool is good. It works. It's better than I mean even Periscope today, like if you do like a side by side comparison, like Periscope kept on saying that 6470 was gonna hit on SPX today. We fucking mega bounced off of 6485 three times. So, that's just the difference. I literally told you guys not to join pro and then you guys already joined. All right. Anyways, like don't join pro. Like when Keon comes back from the dentist, I'll have a call with him. I'll make sure that we get him set up with a link. I'll make sure that he gets set up with the promo code. If anybody already signed up, then you don't even get to use the promo code, so you should have listened. But yeah. Yeah, Periscope is a 10-minute refresh rate and also their data is not accurate. Like there's literally no other tool. Actually, I'll share like one more link with you guys that I think will be helpful so you can kind of like read things before you do anything. Yeah, like anybody could just go into this and take a look at it. I don't think there's a promo for dub, but hold on, let me just double check. Yeah, I don't think there's a promo for dub, but you can sign up using Keon's link for that one and then just look for my ticker, which is glitchy. All right, any other questions? And just take it slow. Like, don't rush into it. Like, I've been using this tool for 16 months, so for me, it's like second nature. But for most of the people that I know that just started using it, it takes at least like 2 to 3 weeks for them to kind of get the hang of it and get into the flow of things. And the only reason it takes that long is because they're not used to trading reversals and they're not used to trading while understanding where price is likely to move. So it just requires like a shift in mentality and the way you were taught to trade initially. And that's why the onboarding period and like the adjustment period is a little bit longer. All right. Cool, cool. My story behind it, I don't have a story behind it. I don't have a success story yet because the story is just beginning. Like this is like 5% of what I want the Skylit terminal to become. So yeah, when I get there, I'll let you guys know. It'll probably be like a good 3 to 5 years from now. But, I think, first of all, like I want to grow the percentage of profitable traders in the market from like 5% to at least 10 to 15%. And alpha decay is a real thing. Like a lot of people are worried, like, oh, it works so well right now, but the more people you have using it, like the alpha is going to decay. The way I'm getting around that is by adding like more data sets that people can pair with Heatseeker. So like later, you're going to be pairing Heatseeker with FlowSeeker. You're going to have research agents that are doing like fundamental research and earnings analysis and like social media analysis. Like people will be able to build their own AI agents that give them insights and alerts to trade off of. So everybody will have like a unique edge. It's not going to be like everybody's using the same exact thing. On top of that, the reason why the paywall is the reason it's there, like the reason the paywall is high is because first thing first, you get what you pay for, and like the data I use is quite expensive, and with the frequency I pump them out, like my processing costs, my infra costs are also very expensive. Second of all, like it's just a way to kind of weed out and make sure we're only bringing in like serious traders that truly want to make a career out of this. Um, and worst of all, like if you just sell something for 50 bucks and like the entire world gets its hands on it, there's no shot it's gonna work for a long time. Like that's just how the market works. Yeah, prices are gonna go up. Yeah, ever since I've launched it, like the prices have only gone up because like existing users keep telling me to like shut it down and like not give access to anybody else. So yeah, I always limit the available slots as well. So I only open up a few slots at a time. Yeah, how many contracts I'm usually trading? It's less about the number of contracts and it's more about the value of the trade. Generally anywhere from 50K to 150K. It's a month, that is correct. Yeah, I have to pull it up in my Google Drive. It's from a old laptop of mine that I had, but yeah, it's a PhD paper and like, it's just a analysis on like squeeze metrics and all of these other random, sites that try to make these inferences and it pretty much says like how inaccurate they are and like why you can't accurately predict dealer positioning. But, I guess I've been lucky enough to be able to get it to a pretty decent rate. Yeah, I think for the first few weeks at least, like I'll probably be a lot more hands-on and I'll be doing like a lot more live analysis in a text channel, kind of indicating like, what I'm seeing with the map. Like there's a lot of nuances and there's like a lot of gotchas that you kind of have to be careful of like while you're using it. And I will be sure to kind of share that with people. And like we'll do a couple of like these reviews and recaps after like a difficult day if we have one to just kind of cover it. Yeah, guys, anyways, don't sign up yet until we get the links out there. And like I'm kind of worried people keep on asking me about these questions because they're signing up right now or something. But yeah, be careful. Brad, like I'll be in the chat in Owls, but my live analysis channel is in Asgard. I have to use that one unless I could find a way to do it at two places at once. Like maybe if I can get a webhook set up or something, I might be able to just post my live analysis in Skylit directly and have it piped to multiple channels. I can consider something like that too. The general methodology and inference layer has been backtested for the past like 20 to 30 years, yes. And I've been building it where it has more weighting towards more recent years because the market is always evolving and adapting, and the way it moved 20 years ago is an entirely different than how it moves today. So I actually have most weighting in the past 5 years. Yeah, institutional investors use this type of data. Bloomberg also actually has a gamma tool and a Vanna tool, but again, they use plain OI for their tool, and it's not accurate. Like I've used the Bloomberg version of it, I didn't like it. Yeah, Matt, the idea is that after Skylit is running good, like so eventually like the vision for Skylit is to make sure that we can see the growth and development of more billion-dollar funds that are run by like self-directed professional traders. Like even Keon should be able to run a billion-dollar AUM fund with the help of like 50 to 60 like research agents or like quant agents. Like that's the future that I want to see. Once I'm able to see that out, then maybe we'll go ahead and start a fund of our own. We've been discussing it already. Yeah, Keon and myself and a few other people. We might start a fund after Skylight's done. It's multiple data sources. I use multiple data vendors ultimately for redundancy, but also just to kind of cross-reference and like include a checks and balances on things. Yeah, Heatseeker does have its own actual Discord. It's called Asgard. It's not as big as like Unusual Whales. Like my intent is never to grow it to more than 1,000 people. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, this is the link, but it's only like you'll only get access to the free channels, which is like the profit and testimonials. Yeah, there's NYSE, Arca, like Nasdaq, there's SIBO, there's a lot of different exchanges. I think IEX, there's at least like 4 or 5 different exchanges. And then we also layer in Oprah data and also Chicago Board of Exchanges data. And like we stitch it all together. Maybe one day, yeah, Heatseeker might achieve sentience one day. Like I'm actually a firm believer in like manual approvals though, so like the final form factor might just be like agents that are doing all of the analysis, capturing all the insights, and then if they identify a trade that we should be taking, like, it just sends us a message that says like, hey, like this is based off of conditions that you've outlined. Do you want to go ahead and send this trade to your broker? And from Skylit, you click accept or reject, and then it should send it to whatever broker you're using. And maybe we'll even develop our own broker later down the road. It depends. It depends on how big we want to go with it. But all right, that was a solid 1.5 hour session after all the delays and everything. Thanks for joining. I'll be around in the chat tomorrow. I'll post the recording when it's ready. Thank God it's recorded. And then, yeah, when Keon gets back from the dentist, I'll follow up with him, make sure we get his link set up, make sure we get the promo codes going, and then if anybody needs or wants full access, you can get it. All right, thanks everybody. Looking forward to continuing to bank with you all. Peace.